today Benedek worked, so he's back from vacation. And so this is just filtered on the merge branches. There are other activity. So one merge PR adding warnings when a projection query has an empty filter group. But if I clear the filter, I saw some, or maybe it's just issues activity. Responding to PRs and everything. So there's nothing to see here. OrchardCore. Oh, wait. Dude, I don't know how to do a meeting. I've done hundreds of them, but that's not how we start. I start by typing the agenda. So usually we start with demos, and we have a demo / discussion. Sarah should that. Anything else? Mike, you have demos all the time now.
No, you guys don't like my demos. Nope.
That's true. And then topics. We don't like your topics either, but you're still coming with topics.
All right, no topics.
Zoltan?
I would have one about the new admin.
Again?
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else feel free to interrupt when it's time. So what do we have? We are seeing since 7 around there. Remove erroneous config warnings from social authentication modules. This is one we saw last week. Removing warnings. So 2 PRs. We just saw one last week. Fix broken doc links due to the reorganization of the evaluation.
Say again?
I'm saying it's probably due to the reorganization of the admin menu. The admin menu. Sorry, not the admin menu, the docs. Taxonomy.
Yes, a lot of pages were moved around, and that caused a couple of breaking links, external links. This fixes that.
Why don't we have a bot that will verify that the links are valid? Is that possible? No, maybe not, because we need to ship before we see that the URL works. Yeah. That will be blocking in this case.
There is a link checker, but it's for it's only for in the docs. It doesn't work for GitHub issues or the code or stuff.
Cool. See. Then add permission support for menu items. So this was merged last week, but it was a PR from before. The ID. Correct me, is that there is a part, menu item permission part, that can be added to menu item content types, and where you can then select the permissions you want to require to be able to list a menu item. And this is for the front end menu items, because the backend already has that. So this is for the front end. Related changes in the layout. How we render a menu is by using the menu shape, which is the same thing as this tag helper, which is using indirectly the menu shape. But looking at the menu shape here, we say render the menu with this alias. And we cache the rendering because we don't want to load the menu items all the time, each menu item being a content item. There might be 2 queries, at least, not more. So by default, it was cached, okay, with the tag. And now it's cached with an expiration time, which is fine. So I didn't notice that. I'm not sure we want that, but it's okay, I'd say. same cache tag, and a cache context, which is users.roles, because the cache now could vary by permission, if you have the permission part, and if it varies per permission, you want the cache to have a different value per roles, because the roles are the list of all the permissions you can have. Which means there will be as many caches as there are roles in the system. So if it's not, you might not be familiar with that, but it's part of the dynamic cache feature. You can have a cache context, and then there are components that can detect that something depends on the cache context, which is just a string, and then provide a discriminator that will make the cache vary by something. We have user.roles, many of them, and they are documented. If not, they should be. Maybe we find an issue to say document this. I don't remember. So that's part of the change. And then the rest is just like this one is just a new service name, because it's not just for admin, it's also for front end. Just to get some permissions. What else?
One other thing, it's if you already have an existing site and you migrate, you're not going to get the permission.
Yes.
This only applies to new tenants, but there is a recipe that you can run on existing tenants, and it would enable it for existing tenants as well.
Wait, let's focus on that. Let's look at the recipe. Where is the change on the recipe? Here. Where is the default recipe? There is no default. So where is the default assignment of this part? It's for the content menu item link, something like that.
There is a recipes inside the menu, I believe.
I have it, but this recipe is to migrate something for the existing websites. For the new sites, what's the default behavior?
Default behavior, it's the same as it is today.
Okay, but what is the recipe doing then?
It's just creating content types.
No, it's not creating content types. It's creating, okay, it's creating this bar, like the menu item permission part.
Part, yes. And I think there's a type as well associated with each one.
Okay, so you are adding, okay, so for a new, so in the new site then, for a new site, where is the part assigned to this type automatically? So where are the types created by default?
I think in the create, we have a recipe that we run. I think it might be even called create. I don't know, I don't remember. But if you look at the menu in the recipes folder, should be here.
But this PR doesn't contain anything. Doesn't contain a recipe. I have the. Or maybe it's a migration. Okay, maybe that's the migration.
Yeah, it's a migration. Yeah, recipe migration.
Okay, that's the one that is invoked by default. Okay, now that makes sense.
Correct. Yeah.
So now you're adding by default this part, but this part doesn't have any permission set by default. It's just now you can decide to add permissions to this, and how is it applied on the in the shape? Is it in the shape that it's applied? Menu shapes. Shapes. You resolve the services, and you're like should create async. This is the one that will check the permission. here that says if there are permissions, then it will look for the permissions and check if the user has the permissions. That's where it's done. So everything is populated from this shape, and there are two levels. The way it works is that it's creating the first level of menu item, and then there is another method that will populate the second level of menu items. And this has to be done this way. Okay. So yeah, so existing sites, they don't get the part automatically attached. You can attach them if you want, but it's not changing anything on the existing sites. You have to opt into the feature if you have an existing site, and it's added, the part is added automatically for new sites. So nothing will be broken or changed for existing site. There is another behavior in this PR, however, the content menu item, where is that? Check content permissions. Yeah, so there is another behavior which is kind of related. This is the fact that there is a menu item named the content menu item type, content menu item, that will display the content item as part of menu item. And the model here, content menu item. Now the model will verify that the content item can be visible. And it was not the case before. It will not apply permission. But now there is a property that says check permission, where you can say, I want to apply the permission check for this content item. And it's not done by default, because checking permissions for each content item means the menu item has to load the full content item instead of rendering just the text of it, and to apply permissions. So you have to also opt in this behavior. So same thing, no breaking change, it's just a new property to be able to say, I want this content item, menu item, to only be visible if the content item itself can be visible by the user. So that's the feature documented. Revert this one because it broke something. Don't know why, but it broke something. So the translation.all is now again referenced by application CMS and not application CMS core. Fixing GitHub Actions workflows and move to incompatibility because the runners went automatically to move to 24, which doesn't have the same versions of the current framework. This PR is pinning the Ubuntu runner on a version such that we don't break automatically next time, and Dependabot is supposed to update that when there is an availability, which means there will be validation after we accept. Also, I introduced a subscript to install the net versions, such that we just have to change one location and everything else is importing this action. Use URL rewriting step doesn't need this option, which is super weird. Removing a JSON serialization option.
It's actually not weird. The reason why, because our default is different than our data document. So it actually doesn't make sense to have the document rules in here.
Okay. When I say weird, I mean, I don't understand. So now I understand. Trim liquid content files. Content URL filter. So it's a liquid filter. Content. It's trimming. Apparently, it was better. James, maybe remember why? We need to trim.
Yeah, trimming because that dot content transforms relative paths to absolute paths, but if the relative path starts with a space, then it won't correctly transform. So
Oh,
that fixed the bug request.
all abstractions, so moving roles into abstractions module and the correct module, not breaking because it's in a higher level module. Well, package abstractions is referenced by everything, but all reorganizing these classes. One package is necessary because I will need dependency there in the other one, in this one. No, not in this one, in this one. Package reference. It was implied in another when it was in the other package. So some refactoring, update variable names for better clarity and understanding. Because we saw that during triage, that absolute URL in this case was not absolute URL, it was a relative URL, but absolute path, I don't remember what we talked about, but I had to look at the documentation, the definition for absolute URL.
Yeah, we settled on it was a path, not a URL, so I just fixed that.
Okay, that's the issue, not the absolute path, but the path / URL. Dependencies, you explained to us that when you disabled the HomeRoute feature, then Autoroute didn't work anymore, so you just did the dependency, so you couldn't do that. Fix unread notification counter and make it visible. Some UI stuff with notifications counting and displaying, so we'll trust.
It's just now you have a correct count on the notification. It will give you that correct total on unread notifications. And also it's visible. So you're able to see there's like, 10 notifications or whatnot. So you'll see there's a new badge that shows that.
We update shortcodes, which only contains a new download version, so nothing special here. Update AWS SDK, because every day you get 5 new releases. Then documentation for things with alternate display mode. Interesting. Field display modes. Oh, this is how to find the differentiator to be able to customize a specific field with a specific display mode. Do we have the same thing for parts? Because there is the same behavior.
Parts don't have differentiators, I think, only fields.
What? Okay, probably. I should know, but remember. Oh, okay, I'm confused between editors and like display editors and display. What's the name? Here, the alternates. No, display modes. Okay, editor display modes and display modes, something like that. Probably that's what confusing me. We have two things. Yeah, we don't have it for parts. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Are you sure? Nah, I think we have it for parts. Antoine, remember when we talked that we were missing it for something and then we added it? I thought it was for parts. Who knows? Well, Zoltan, I trust you. You'll write the documentation, but I thought we had done that.
I don't know. Most recently we added ID-based alternates, but
Yeah, but it's an old thing, like differentiators. Data. How can we know? No, it's not differentiator that I'm looking. It's what display mode? I won't go far with that thing. Yeah. Someone will tell us next time. Contributor, fixed line access to session from interesting. So there was a concurrency issue with fields. Let's look at the PR because it must reference the issue. Weeks ago, graphical effect with more than one type in a single request. It says, and I'm pretty sure it's closing more than this issue because we referenced the solution some time ago. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's different. Oh, is it the one? Yes, George, I was about to ask you that you explained.
Specific to GraphQL, and there is some locked field resolve stuff, and it's not actually used before because it was not inheriting correctly. It was implemented using the new.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was mentioning. Locked async field resolver, which is supposed to do a semaphore of some sort to prevent the parallel calls to each field, which we can't support with a session. And okay, so the solution was to do what then?
It was inheriting from the func field resolver, but not overriding because it doesn't have a virtual method.
How do you come to
was using the new keyword? It was never used.
Interesting. But that's interesting. What is interesting here also is that this class here, locked async field resolver issues GraphQL. That's not the one, okay, but I almost thought it was that. Where we have a lock in with GraphQL. But this one. This one. See field for content items, and that's what I mentioned because field and he was able to pro, and then that was that. Resolve locked.
It might be related, you're right.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. If you look at the issue here, not this one.
Yeah.
Fixed concurrency issues, concurrent field. See, resolve locked async. I think resolve locked async is using the lock field, no? Anything similar?
Probably.
Or is the PR? Good. Let's go back there. Make the root available when published. Why? I mean, why? We need the www because it's used by the caches, the file caches like image sharp cache, but I'm pretty sure we already have something to do that.
Yeah, that's why we need to pre-create it, and the placeholder file is there to pre-create it. But supposedly for some people, it's not really working. I mean, it works for me, and we have the same thing. But yeah, we don't have this in our own projects, and it works, but apparently not in Ember case.
Maybe the environment makes it different.
I've actually seen that on Linux, having a dot placeholder doesn't work for some reason, so you need something really like a txt.
Cool. And is that something that needs to be somewhere else? Where am I here? Because it's in the CMS web CS proj. Should we update the template? We have that in a template, and it will also be in a template. I wonder. OrchardCore CMS.web. We might have a template with that file also.
I think this is just for the building back project. So perhaps the reporter is just using this directly.
No, we have it. So we have the CS project that we use in the solution, but we also have a template to generate this same kind of CS project. That's a new CMS project. So probably also update the date. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that should be also updated.
This one, yeah. Yeah. See the same code, and then we could also have the same thing, just in case. I don't like to have too much stuff in these templates, but this will be a required part.
I'll reopen the issue.
And that's it. So we were on the status demo, Sarah. Discussion,
okay.
Demo/discussion. So.
Yeah, let me share my screen. All right, can you see it?
Yes.
Cool, thank you. So I wanted to talk about this pull request I have on for the PO extractor. We had some discussion how to achieve the goal to add extensibility with plugins. So that, for example, if you have a custom layout engine, for example, which we have in Lombiq for the Vuejs templates, or as well for other cases, for example, if you have a headless browser, headless website with like some kind of JavaScript front end, then you typically would have a separate language file for it. And in the test, I have a simple example for that, which is very similar to one of the things we have in a client project. The point is that this is, for example, it's called L18N LL next, but it's basically just a JSON file. But For example, if we could import these into the PO files, then first of all, you could localize more things with the same tooling, and second of all, then you can have like a backend with a custom action with a custom route that returns the individual localized files dynamically, so you don't have to maintain them together either. And to that end, what I came up with is a relatively simple little extra thing in the PO extractor that just invokes the Roslyn C# script format, which looks like this. So it's basically C#, but it's a standalone text file, and you evaluate it at runtime. And what it does is it imports the basically each assembly that that is in the PO extractor. So they are all available, and then you can create a custom implementation of the project processor. And for example, here we just recursively search for JSON files, and then create this type of file that
so the processor is something that already exists. You also had to extend it.
Sorry. So this is part of the PO extractions abstract, the PO extractors abstractions project, and this is what is used for extracting like CSHTML files and
this one is called once.
Kind of stuff.
This one is called once for the main path, or is it called like?
And you can mix it in. So for example, in here you can see there is nothing in this directory now that I have created. But if you execute this, if you execute the PO extractor in this directory, as if you would normally do, then it finds the project file and then finds this JSON file in it automatically, because we just add the plugin source path with this plugin switch, and you can add multiple. So you can actually do the same, do the normal extraction and the plugins at once. And then if you use the single file switch, then the whole thing goes into a single POT file. So it's highly integrated. And then if you execute this, then now it created a file which looks like this. And then you can localize this with normal PO tooling, and then use it to deliver these files. Or even you can share, if you remove the context, then you can even share localization strings between the front end and the back end, which could be also useful. And you can have multiple of these files. One concern was, unfortunately, I'm not sure what was Hisham's thought process, but that this is a kind of the kind of extensibility that maybe you are running custom code. It's not exactly dynamic linking, but somewhat similar, but I don't think it's super problematic because you actually have to opt in. Otherwise, it runs exactly as normal because it's just one. It's just one check. So it's one call, and if there are no plugin.
No, I agree. In terms of security, it's just like running the PO extractor because you have to.
Yeah.
It's more trustful to know which source code you execute, you point to the plugin.
Yeah, because it's
your plugin.
DLL, you actually can see what you have here.
What I'm thinking about is that you made up a JSON document format, right? It's your own JSON document format, and probably
no. This is actually there is a kind of a standard. It's called L18 next.
Okay, it's I18.
Sorry. Yes, that.
Yeah, so that's and I'm like, okay, great. I was about to say, and there is probably a default JSON, a well-known JSON format, and that's the one you use. Okay, great. So, which means probably this plugin here, you want to reuse it and you want to share it with people. So what I do in my command line tools is that I accept URLs also on top of local file path, like you have -- plugin and a local path. You could say -- plugin, HTTPS, GitHub, and a pointer to a URL to a GitHub repository that contains these plugins, even in the PO extractor repository. So you could point to them and enrich those plugins for different file formats. Then the risk is that you have to trust the code that is on the GitHub project. But we could still do that because we trust our repo. We know like there will be no risk for us there because we also trust our packages that we publish. So I think it would be nice to support this format like -- plugin and the URL to the plugin.
Yeah, for sure. So then you would have plugins either from online or as for the local use, what I think is really useful is that if you have these like highly project specific things, then you have the plugin in the project.
I agree.
Perfect. And then you immediately create the POT files at build. And then they get uploaded to Git.
The first also reaction I had when I saw the CSX file is that we use JavaScript because I decided so, and we agreed on the solution. Yes, I love my scripting things to be based on JavaScript because it's a scripting language. It's easier to write sometimes than a compiled language.
Yeah, and the tooling is not perfect for this. I understand and I agree, but on the other hand, it's easier to integrate because, like I said, you can just you can just reference the assemblies once, and then you have access to everything that is in the executable already. So
I'm sure it's super practical, and when you want to reuse the scripts.
Also, JavaScript would be problematic because you want inheritance here.
No, not really, because what you would do is a wrapper in C# that will load JavaScript and expose it as an interface. Like it would be like --js plugin, or based on the extension, it will say, oh, I don't want to build your file. I want to execute the JavaScript from thing. So that it's just a side discussion, but and then in terms of security, there will be no issues because you can't do a format C: in JavaScript, but you can in C#. So if you point to a plugin that is written in JavaScript, it's safer than if you point to a plugin that is written in C# script. Just these kind of things. But don't do that. I was just discussing the idea of what language to use. It's perfect here in this case. Okay, that looks nice. I like it. Restrictions you might see, though, is that you mentioned that you are referencing and importing the things from PO extractor. When you have plugins, you will probably want to import / reference more things. That would be nice if there could be a way to declaratively import other packages or namespaces from your plugins. Is there a way in CSX to do that? Like, is there a syntax you could add either to the command line or this file as a comment? Example, line 6, you could add / £R and the name of the package. Like.
Oh yeah. You know the thing in
the immediate window of
thingy. doesn't matter, whichever.
Now you scare me that you open commerce. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
You can just put it in line and it works.
In the CSX?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that was my comment.
So you can do this. The reason I wanted to import everything that's already in PO extractor, so you don't have to do it for everything, like for system text, JSON, and that kind of stuff. So all of those are already in, but you want to, I don't know, for whatever reason, include OCC, then you would do that, and then you have access to it. And it downloads if it's not cached at runtime.
Cool. So you have made a plugin for the JSON format. Did you make a plugin for your Vuejs files already?
Not yet. I wanted to have the PR resolved first, just to make sure that we have a final.
Do you have an example of a Vuejs file with some translation?
Yeah.
Don't disclose any secret code. Secret project or whatever.
But so we have these things, and those become those get extracted from.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have a iString localizer factory that puts them. I will actually change them so it will put it into context according to the path, so you can properly contextualize them.
Do you use Angle Sharp to do that in this case? Or regex?
Possibly. I will have to check because I may be already using Angle Sharp here, but I don't quite remember.
Okay, I'm done with my questions.
Cool.
Anyone else, maybe?
I think this was like the last piece missing for our view module to be really Orchard integrated. No?
I think so.
Oh, awesome.
Ship it. But you need documentation, right?
Oh yeah, I just thought. Do you think?
At Lombiq, so documentation is first, and then code.
Yeah.
It's DDD documentation.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's good. I mean, cool.
A quick question. Right now in Orchard Core, if you have a recipe, I think we don't extract localization strings from the recipe, like from liquid files, right?
Oh yes.
From liquid files, I don't know. Do we?
I don't think so. I think only because it's a different format. So I think only the C# style ones are extracted currently from C# and Razor files.
Interesting.
But that would probably be put in the main PO rather than in a plugin.
If you can do that, that would be great. I didn't think about that. That's weird. Or maybe we thought about it and I forgot, but that's weird that we don't do that. Or maybe we don't have much translations in the liquid files, but we must have some. There is a pipe T the filter T. So we need to find a filter T. And if you do that, then in the fluid library, there is you can parse the fluid library, and then there is a visitor that lets you find all the nodes that are a filter, and then you can check if the filter is T, take the next argument, and this is the string to translate. Or the previous argument. So there is a visitor to do that, to find all the, so that would be useful.
That's useful.
Cool. Next week, a new demo to extract all the liquid translated text. Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Next is Sultan.
Yeah, not a demo, just a topic. Yeah, we had a shorter discussion, I think, about this on. No, we actually had a long discussion. I was mistaking it with something else. Last week about potentially renewing the admin area, the user experience of the admin area, including the look and feel, styling, but with the point of making the usability better. So this is not about being pretty or using different colors and typography just for the sake of it, but improving the usability. Since then, I've created this issue. That's the less interesting part. But the more interesting one is that I've worked through this first task. As you may remember, I think I told that I reached out to a couple of contacts for some referrals of UX professionals. And I've also created an ad, which is here on this open source design page. And actually, a lot of people replied to this. I also got replies from previous contacts. So now I have a list of like 10 various designers / UX professionals who offered to work with us. Now, I've pre-filtered them a little bit. I've gone through their portfolio, asked some questions. With a couple of them, I also scheduled calls. So right now, this is ongoing, but I hope that next week for the Thursday meeting, because I don't want this part to be published, but on the Thursday meeting, we can go over the various people and make some decisions on who to continue the discussion with. Yeah, if you'd like to take part, please join me.
Maybe you should just after this meeting stop the recording and then talk about it, so that way Thursday we can leave it for reviewing PRs.
I have a question. Because you mentioned you focused the discussion when you started talking the whole time. You focused again on usability, not colors and size of buttons and everything, right? Because it's important.
Yeah.
And yet I can't find the word usability in the issue or in the proposal you made. I see find a suitable open source bootstrap dashboard as base. I see figure out the basic core specific UX principle the admin should follow. And today we follow some basic UI specific stuff. We use Bootstrap. So I'm not finding the real reason of the issue renewing the admin area. I'd like people to read the issue not as yeah, sure, do something that pleases you, but more like, do you think there is a usability issue with the admin in/UI that needs a rewrite? I'd like to see if people agree of there are usability issues, we need to rewrite the admin for usability. And not just, oh, it can be fancy. It can be more fancy.
It's, well, from my side, this is definitely not about just making it fancy. If it can, great, but that's not really the point.
It will be, for sure. For me, it's like, yeah, if it's new, it's shiny, it's you know, I mean, new is better, right? Newer is better. It's always nicer when you rewrite something, it's refreshed and everything. So I don't even assume it will be not nice. But the goal of the issue and why there would be a rewriting of the admin area. As you mentioned earlier, like, what's the goal of doing that? Not what are the steps, but why would we want to do that, or why? Yeah, usability being your reason.
Yeah, I didn't use the word usability, indeed, but I can clarify that.
I think that's important because I like the fact that you focused on that, and you mentioned it's not to change colors on the size of the icons or whatever. It's to make it more usable. Okay, and that's why I want it to be written in the issue or in the goals. Because if you rewrite another admin area, but with the same issues that it's trying to solve, then you need to explain the issues you want to solve. So it's better.
Yeah, good point. I will clarify it there. This is, by the way, with those designers that I've talked before. This is what we have talked about. So yeah, in short, it's about usability. In the long, it's about this. Yeah, and what Mikey said, we can have it on the Tuesday meeting if it's still the recording. I'm not sure I will be ready until next Tuesday though. So
yeah, I mean that's fine.
If
we can agree that on the agenda next week we'll talk about it, and we can like at least block some time to do that. If you have something, if we need to invite someone, if we need to talk about things, to exchange ideas, I don't know. That's part of the meeting, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, let's do that. So I will get back to all of you. See when I have something to explain about the potential people. And of course, if and when we want to go forward with a suitable person, then we can involve them during such calls as well. Yeah, no, that's it. So updates to follow.
Big ideas. Who has side discussion actually? I will share my screen. I will share my screen. So I will just jump on the topic because we have 2 minutes left. Anyone else has a topic? Need to talk about questions, whatever. So I will use that. Yeah, big idea. So I was on this. Where is the thing? Where is the thing? This one. So for me, it's like a big idea. Okay, what like a big goal, target, something ambitious. Okay, and that's always good to have ambitious things to do and to focus on and to target and to try to implement. And that makes me think about the other issue that is related, which is Orchard 3.0. Just because I was reading, so where is the issue for that?
It's a discussion.
Discussion.
Thank you. Discussion.
For
What would you like to
the
see
top.
in Orchard 3.0? And I think that it's kind of the same topic, because when we thought 3.0 or 2.0 at that time when it was created, actually it was changed in the time. It was more like, what kind of big thing do you want to see in Orchard 3.0? That could be one way to see that, instead of just like, oh, let's fix that, or yeah, I'd like to see more of those big things, like what is a big endeavor that you want to tackle that is worth a major release, right? Just say, like typically a new admin area, that would be such typical thing. So yeah, that would be interesting to have those ideas like thrown away to see what people think. Just extending the topic. And the admin area is there. Admin theme.
Oh,
it's
I
there.
didn't remember that.
Good.
I actually brought that up.
You see? Awesome and good looking admin theme. You see, Zoltan, why it's important to know the reasons why? Because yes, it's part of it. For me, it's like in the case of your issue, it will be bonus. Yes, it has to be awesome and good looking. Okay, and you want to use it. But usability and reusable components and a framework to build a thing like a guideline is more important in this case. Is worth rewriting something if there is a guideline and there is some common concepts everywhere. Someone wants to create a new one. Yeah, so yeah, big ideas. I like to see big ideas like this. What people think. What's worth a 3.0, like a major release. Not just breaking changes, but in terms of it could be like even a minor version. A big idea could be like a feature like workflows. It doesn't have to be in a major release, right? But it's a big component. So that's it. That would be interesting to see those ideas of big components. If there is any left, because we've done so much. Cool. Questions, comments? All is good? What's up right now in the PR? Is there any big thing? Like, what have you been doing?
You know what?
Yeah, that's a small one.
There's one comment that Kevin made that we should release 2.1.4. I pinged you. I don't know if you responded.
Yeah, I saw the notification. I didn't look at the detail. Can we look at it on Thursday to see?
Sure. I mean, I was hoping to release a version, but I just don't know if we should update 6.OpenID dict library to 6.0 in a patch or not. I don't think we should, but Kevin suggested that we should, so I trust him. I just want a third opinion.
Same time, I think Kevin would be the one to say don't do that because it's a major release, so you should not do that in minor versions because he's been hit himself by some things like this in ASP.NET Core.NET, like why do you ship a minor version that has a breaking change and breaking me and whatever? So
but sometimes we could be caught by surprise, and that's why I'm like hesitant.
Or you could say also OpenID major is just an implementation detail, and people won't reference that also, like the version 5 or 4, I don't know what it was. So I don't know. I will look at into the issue. But normally we should not. Unless something is really broken. Then maybe.
Well, the UI is broken and we already have a fix for it, but he's also suggesting to also update.
No, if we have a fix, if nothing is broken and we have a fix, then no, there is no reason to.
That's what I was thinking too.
It's not blocking, there is no indication, people are not complaining. I will look at the issue. See that. James, I think you had something to say.
Yeah, I have that fix all route data liquid helper attribute PR. It's pretty small one. It's just fixed a broken attribute.
Liquid is not broken. Controller all route data.
Previously that just didn't work at all. So.
Object value. Wow. You even use iFluid indexable. Beautiful. Okay, ideally there should be a test to test the thing. There was none before. We won't block contributors and adding tests. In this case, because it was broken. Actually, we call it. Wow, that's an old issue. Yeah, that is right. Awesome. Why did you fix that?
Just wanted to work on some older issues, get some experience.
Good. Thank you.
You see that on that PR that say set version current Vuejs dependency to 2, the first PR. That's a quick one, but I think we should take it and backport it even.
Does it, so if you have two, could you have Vuejs 2 and 3 reference and then it will pick up the 3, but doesn't work with the 3?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, because V3, well, it will pick up, but if you don't specify a version, it will get the latest. So if anyone register Vuejs in their project, it will break our project because it will automatically pick up the new version, and we don't want to do that because, yeah.
Could it also provide a way? So can we have then using migration from 2 to 3 by saying like each component one by one, we can upgrade them. We don't have to upgrade everything at the same time.
Yeah, but I think Jasmine is working on something that upgrades everything to 3.
I know. That's why I'm wondering. Because I thought that we were not able to run 2 at the same time, but apparently with that kind of strategy, I mean, it's possible. But
yeah, it is possible for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. You can specify the version, but if you don't specify one, then you're gonna always get the latest one.
Cool.
So in this case, we're just saying, give me the latest version in the 2 dot.
Yeah,
so that's yeah.
Oh, wait. That's not what I thought it was. So that I understand. No, even that. Okay. So that's not a Vuejs thing. That's okay. Now I'm confused. So this is to say to tell Orchard resources to inject this script version 2. Okay. Script version 2. Because in the resources, we only have version 2, right?
Correct.
But if you decide to add version 3, then it will pick version 3.
Correct, and it will break the defaults. So in this case, we know our script doesn't work on views. Say that again?
That's why Jasmine is migrating everything, and it has to migrate everything because it didn't go in the way that, oh, let's reference the 2 versions, but just 1. Okay, but we also today, when we do like jQuery, we have the old versions and the new versions, or just the new versions? Just the ones we use, or OrchardCore. Where do we define all those? The tools. Sources. Startup. Where is it defined? The list of all manifests?
Oh, it's in the resource management option, 4th one from the bottom.
Okay, 3.6, 3.7, 3.5, 3.4. Vuejs 2.6, 2.16. Interesting. Okay, so we could add a 3. Interesting. Okay, because by default we say it's latest, but no, it's not latest anymore. We can pass a major version, it will pick up the latest. That's great. Okay, well, that makes sense. It's not a breaking change, and okay. I don't want to find again, but yeah, life family. I would find. The pull request. Cool. Makes me think, should we have properties on the resource manager to say the default is 2 when not set, so that we could just bump something or fix it like a directory package user props where we set centrally the versions we want to use. And then we could just say everything that was using Vuejs 2 now is Vuejs 3, or everything that was latest now is 2. So we can pin it globally to 2 by default and then override on each time. That could be useful. But we are not there. Okay. Time is done. The audience, good questions, good demos, good topics. Thanks everyone. See you on Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Hey,
Bye,
guys.
man.
Cheers.